Hey Queen, it's Lynette here, founder of MoodWellth. Here to talk to you about one of our 6 cornerstones of mental well-being, and that is positive relationships with others. It has been studied that when we do self-work in this area, along with the other areas, it does improve your overall mental well-being. And as we always like to say here at MoodWellth, part of learning how to effectively lead a mentally well life is learning how to effectively manage the relationships around you. While it is our responsibility to manage our mood, we're also human, and it's human to be impacted by others as well. So doing self-work in this area helps you to really tune inward when you need to, and stop focusing so much on external validation and stop taking things so personally. So as we embark on like this unique journey that we are on called life, right? It should be a given that we need a team of strong supporters to take the journey with us. I like to call my team my tribe or my support circle. You can call it whatever you want though. People who provide unconditional love, this unwavering support, and just that ability to fight for me when I just don't have it in me to fight for myself. And I think we've all been at that point in our lives, or we will be if we're human at a certain point in our lives. So a good tribe or support circle is essential, like I said, to any mental well-being plan, but not just any kind of tribe, a good, solid tribe. And I'll admit, at one point, before lots of therapy, I didn't know how to form a good tribe. I didn't even know what that looked like. I didn't know how to be vulnerable enough to ask for support, and I didn't know how to receive the support people were willing to give me. Over time, however, I began to realize what it means to have a good tribe or support circle, how to look for good support circle or tribal characteristics, and how to possess those characteristics myself. So I wanted to give you my little tips and pointers that I've learned through studying psychology, through my own self-work in therapy as a certified hypnotherapist and working with thousands of people all over the world, teaching them how to lead healthier lives through behavior change. So hoping that this will give you some insight into forming your own tribe or support circle that can walk alongside with you in this journey called life. So the first one is to stop shoulding on yourself. Too often, I would get consumed by who I thought should be in my tribe. I was stuck on old friends who hurt me, family members who didn't care to understand, or new friends who I wouldn't give a chance because, well, they were new. Needless to say, I had some major trust issues. So one of the first things I had to do was stop getting wrapped up in who should be doing what. Let go of who didn't or wasn't doing what, and start accepting who was happily willing to lend support. I had to learn to trust myself, my judgment, and be open to new people. So that's the first one. Stop shoulding on yourself. The next is unexpected goodness. And let me explain that one. Speaking of new people, it's funny how God will place people in your life at the time when you need them most. But most of the time, my preconceived notions were an obstacle for that unexpected goodness. I remember when I was first diagnosed with postpartum depression, and this was with my youngest son, who's now 12. So it was 11 years ago. My closest friends, the ones I felt I could really trust, they either lived out of town or were dealing with their own issues. I didn't want to burden them, so I thought I would just suck it up and deal with it. You know, of course, I had my husband who was as supportive as he could be, but I needed another mom to understand where I was coming from. So this is what I did. I randomly sent out a private Facebook message to people I didn't necessarily talk to on a regular basis, but I knew who were aligned with my values. So lo and behold, I was met with the utmost compassion from people I never expected. It's that unexpected goodness. One of them has actually turned out to be one of my closest friends to this day, and I will always consider her a part of my tribe and support circle. But if I hadn't reached out, if I hadn't taken that step and been open to something new, then I wouldn't have received goodness in places that I didn't expect. The next little tip is expect goodness. So there was a point in my life where I expected the worst out of everyone, and it was a very lonely place to live. I would react the way I thought they would treat me instead of seeing conflict for what it was and trying to resolve it like a grown-up. I was deeply guarded, and as you can imagine, that didn't create a space for thriving relationships. I had to learn how to expect goodness out of people until they gave me a reason not to. And even when they did, because we live in a world with humans and they will disappoint you. I had to learn to attempt to express how I felt, allow that person the same opportunity, and attempt to resolve it. This newfound method of expecting goodness allowed me the opportunity to let people in and see how they could add value to my life and I could add value to theirs as well. It doesn't always work because that's life. But when it does, I encounter some truly amazing people. So expect goodness. The next one is be honest. This part is hard for most. Well, at least admittedly it was for me. I had to learn to be honest with myself about what I needed, and honest about my expectations of others who lived in my space. Honesty helps to keep the tribe on the same page as much as possible. Your tribe can't know when to put the gloves on and fight for you if they don't know what you need. So when they ask how you're doing or if there's anything they can do for you, tell them the truth. And while you're at it, be honest about who is capable of actually showing up for you. Because again, a lot of times we focus on who should be doing what, instead of being honest about their capacity and capability to do so. The next is be vulnerable. Amazing things happen on the other side of vulnerability. Connections are built, lessons are learned, and gifts are shared when you allow yourself to be vulnerable. For many, including myself, it's a scary place because rejection and judgment can also potentially live on the other side of vulnerability, right? However, if you combine vulnerability with that trust in yourself, trusting your own judgment, then you create spaces for that goodness to happen, expected and unexpected. It's important to remember, though, that everyone doesn't deserve your truth because not everyone will handle it with care. So don't go shouting it to everyone you see. Instead, be selective with your vulnerability. Just be vulnerable with someone. The last tip that I can give that has been hugely important to me is being a good tribal or support circle member myself. One of the most important things you can do when attempting to find your tribe is to make sure you embody those characteristics. In addition to doing all the things that I just mentioned, make sure you're ready to go the distance for those who have gone the distance for you. If a member of your tribe has been there for you when the chips are down, don't disappoint her by not showing up when she needs you. So I hope that provided you a little bit of insight into these relationships that are super important to our mental well-being. Literally, relationships can sometimes either make you or break you, depending on your perspective of them, depending on your care of them, and depending on how you respond to them. So if there's toxicity in your circle, be honest about it. Be realistic about whether or not these people are truly aligned with you. And you also need to be honest with yourself, again, if you are not just having an open mind to someone who you didn't expect those characteristics to come from. So that's it. I hope it's helpful. And I hope you take it in as you continue to learn how to effectively manage the relationships around you. Wishing you well, sis. Love you all. Peace.